Hey everybody, thanks for being here. Today we're in California at Pardee Lake for Kokanee, and then it's Columbia River Walleye. Now if you want to learn how to catch more fish, stay tuned. I'm Justin Wolff, and this is Angler West Television. About an hour's drive southeast of Sacramento, California, in the heart of the mother lode country, sits Pardee Lake, an impoundment of the Kokanee River known for its large rainbows, smallmouth and largemouth bass, and lately, good quality Kokanee salmon. For the past several years, this region has been hurt by a severe drought, but driving up the day before, it feels like anything but a drought, with heavy rains pounding the foothills. The next morning, we have clear skies and a full moon, which may affect the bite. Today we're on the water with Sam Lage and Gary Edminster, who don't frequently fish this lake, so today it's about figuring out the bite.
I'm trying to find some cokes today. I was out yesterday, it was coming down pretty hard. I had thunder and lightning like every 5 minutes. I waited and then got out, and it was nice, not bad. I got one out there, but it was just a little too nasty, so hopefully today's a different day. So this is the mouth, the Kokanee. Cokes start to move out, they start to catch them down by the dam later in the year, but right now they're up here and they're kind of high, so we'll see. We're back about 145 feet to start off with, which is not usually what I'm doing for Kokanee, but from what I'm hearing, they like the long setback. So we'll start with that, start about 11 feet, and kind of straggle all the riggers at different depths, try to find out what, where they're hanging out, so let's give it a shot. We're going to start out at 1.5 and then see what happens, and if we don't get a bite on that, we'll drop her down to 1 and see what that does. So a little pro cure, I like using the herring, usually early in the season here. A little red dye, a little badass, pro cure agenta, I think it is. And a little bit of corn syrup, see what's going on, and then we'll shake it up with a little herring. Is it Aunt Jemima's or? It's the herring sauce. Maybe a little, whatever it is. Little Coke. He's a little guy. This little guy would have let him go, but it's hard to successfully let them go. Although I've got good at doing it and keep them in the net. Yeah, so when you're catching cokes, it's best to keep them, of course, because they're very sensitive to touch. Once they're out of the water, they're pretty much done. I got good at releasing them at Flaming Gorge. We were limited out in an hour there, and you're letting 5-pound cokes go, but you got good at doing it. If you keep them in the net, not touch them, and you're able to release the hook, and they're not bleeding, they can survive. But best thing to do is if they're hooked good, just to put them on the frying pan.
Put them on the smoker.
How deep was that one you just caught? Well, it's 13 feet. No, right down there, it's a little guy. Yeah. You trout? Oh, little Coke, right on. Oh, just got off, look at that. Catch and release. Yeah, trying to generate a bite. We're having a little bit of a slow time, so we put a little micro hoochie on here with a smaller little dodger and got it on the Wolff camera. He's a better fish, that's for sure. Kind of feels like a trout. Yeah, I came up the arm a little bit here, try to find some fish. Oh, he just flipped out of there. He might be a Coke. Oh. He might have just flipped off. Nope, he's there. Get a little guy, too. We want to catch those bigger ones, right? We're trying to find the bigger ones, but working it all to get this bite on. Swimming with me, swimming with me. These aren't the 14 inches that we're looking for, but he's a little bit better fish. Nice. That's what we want right there. Yeah, that's a better cove for sure. Sweet. What depth was that? 11? 11's the magic number. Yeah. There you go, take it. Yeah, for this lake this time of year, this is a pretty good size, about 13 inch or so, a little bit fatter. So this only means that these cokes are going to get nice and fat by midsummer into summer.
He's a decent fish.
Yeah, not bad. So that's what we're looking for. So let's try it again. On the corn, you know, whatever mixture you got going on, find what works. I do things differently. I go through the fat end of the corn here, and I just leave it out the end there. And I do the same thing on the inside hook. And you can also add a power niblet or something on there if you want, as long as it doesn't take away from the action of the lure. And you want good sized corn, good sized kernels. So, you know, that's too small. There we go. We're going to get that down through on there like that. Goes home there. Good to go. We're going to go ahead and just stick it in the juice. Get it back out.
Go to AnglerWestTV.com right now and save money and get a bottle each of the original and Bloody Tuna Scent Chamber Magic. Ideal for filling the Oregon Tackle Scent Chambers or any lure that holds scent. Also, if you're hunting trophy trout, the Max Lure flashlight attractors are perfect to pull in front of plugs or in tandem with the Double D Dodgers. And now's the time to stock up on Brad Super Baits and Cut Plug Super Baits and start catching more fish. Also, stop polluting the water and yourself with toxic soap. Use Fisherman's Eco Soap instead. Order now at AnglerWestTV.com. Chinook and coho on the menu? Then put Oregon Tackle to work, like the Salmon Sniper spinners with built-in scent chambers. Available in a 2-hook mooching rig or with treble hooks. Or go with a deadly switchblade spinner. Of course, these fish great behind the Oregon Tackle School of Fish. If you're using spreaders, then why not use Oregon Tackle spreaders with built-in scent chambers? Just fill with any Procure oil or Angler West Scent Chamber Magic. Also available in a plunking style with a rotating arm. Look for Oregon Tackle products in stores now. Maximize your float fishing game with the new technologically advanced Pro Drift floats by Fishfield, available in 11 sizes from 1/8 to 5 ounces with EVA foam construction, durable braid-ready inserts, and color options to match the conditions. And they're the only float with a glow stick insert for low light conditions. And prepare to load the boat with the lifelike Fishfield Pacific Chovy heads with a versatile double ring and bait keeper system. Available in 6 colors from 1 to 3 ounces. These are ideal for tuna and other saltwater species. Find the best prices today in Tigard or online. Welcome back to Pardee Lake. I'm Justin Wolff. The gold country of California is as green as can be after heavy spring rains. The drought might not be officially over, but for now, most of the region's lakes and reservoirs are filled near to capacity, which has us itching to get out and enjoy lakes like Pardee, which is full of eager kokanee. Today is anything but a wide open bite, so we're trying a variety of dodgers, attractors, and lures to find out just what exactly is going to make these early season finicky kokanee finally decide to bite.
Oh, it's going to be a one-hander. We got doubles. Look at this talent. Woo! Way to go, buddy. Back up and I'll go over here. Yeah, we just ran through a bunch of them here. Here. No, we don't need netting. Nope. Oh, it is a coke. Doubles. Sweet.
Hey, you just put that out.
Yeah, greens. These are clean. These are going to get bigger later on in the year. So dragging one in here. Yeah, we got caught. What they're doing is they're running across that line. It's having a problem getting all tangled up. I'm going to have to separate that a little bit. Now, it's still under normal size. That's on the green.
Yep.
Green. Got a little guy. So we switched over to green. Green's picking up. Pink's still producing, but green seems to be outdoing it right now. And we came in a little group of fish and had doubles, so we're going to circle through there. Usually when you find a couple like that, they're starting to ball up a little bit, and it's good to just keep circling through that area and work it. Yeah, he's on there. I just dropped that 15 feet. He's a little bit nicer. Yeah, he's a little bit nicer. Well, we're in a pocket of them. You want to circle through right now while I got this out? We'll go right through there. So it's about 11:30, almost coming up on noon here. We got a little bite going on, so we're looking for those 14 inchers. Don't need to. I get them full. They're not big enough to put in there. Another fine Coke. So green. Oh no, this is on the pink now. See, glow head.
15 feet. When we first started this morning, we were at about 11 feet. We were catching them, and then the bite went off, and we decided to drop down to 15, and the bite came back on again, and I think it's warming up, so they're going down. So we're going to go down to 15 to 20 on this side here and see what happens. We're going to just send it up here a little bit, get some juice on there. Every little bit helps.
Barely
Get some scent on here.
So these fish are not huge. We're getting them in the 12, 13 inch range. They're nice, healthy cokes, but they're not aggressively hitting it. You got to really watch your tip. We've been getting hung up a lot because we're about at the same depths, between 11 and 13 feet. And they're liking a long setback, so we're having to cut our setbacks in half because we've had some pretty major tangles. But they're just coming up and hitting that corn barely, not aggressively hitting it like they normally do later in the year. When they're bigger, they really snap it and release the clip. So gotta watch it, watch our tips. This is the area right here, Gary.
Yeah, it is.
They're hanging right in here. There we go. He's tapping it anyway. And this is only 50 feet back now.
Yeah. Maybe that's the key.
So we've got a little more concentration of fish. Nope, that just popped off. In the main body area here, but they're not as big as the ones we were popping in the arm. So either we're going to drop down a little bit or head back in the arm and see if we can't get some heavier fish. Yeah, so we lost our bite. So, you know, got to change stuff up. That's what I do. I change stuff up constantly. So we're going to go to the old standby, the old Max wedding ring. Got a lot of the original ones on here, the hammered, both gold and the silver. And I'm not sure what we're going to do. What are we going to do, Gary? Captain Gary picks out the colors. Silver, huh?
I think we should go silver.
Okay.
Silver it is.
Which one? Rear right. There we go. Oh, he's still same size. Good job, buddy. 26 feet, so they've dropped down. Buddy. We got a couple limits today.
There we go.
Yeah, so we're cleaning up end of the day. Scent chambers get real messy, especially when you're using them all day and loading them up. So what I find is pretty easy. Just pop that bead out of there, slides out, and then what I do, soak them in hot water, or you can use the Eco Soap. This stuff's great for your hands, for anything you want, but you can just spray it in there. I soak it in hot water, take a little Q-tip and get in there, and that stuff will come right out brand new, ready to rock and roll next time.
This year, catch more trout in Kokanee with the Max Lure Double D Dodger, whether using a Cha-Cha squidder or Sonic Bait fish, or any lure with a fish-attracting smile blade like the new Glow Burst.
Ideally, this trolls at 1.5 miles per hour. Has a knife edge front, has a nice cupped rear portion to it. That whale tail, as it's bent, causes it to kick and causes it to rock back and forth. Okay? No tuning required. This will work right out of the box.
Stop guessing about curing roe and start catching more fish with ProCure's Liquid Egg Cure, the no-hassle, fail-safe way to get perfect eggs every time. The process is simple. Just butterfly your skeins, put them in a clean container, and cover with either Orange Glow, Red Hot, or Hot Pink, and cure for several hours with no risk of ruining your eggs. There's no simpler way to cure great eggs. See the Liquid Cure instructional video with Steve Lynch of ProCure at anglerwesttv.com. Then start catching more fish. You know, the all-time greatest line cutter is the Boomerang Tool Company Snip. I've been using these for years and I just love them. This is P-Line TCB 80-pound braid. No problem whatsoever, no frayed ends, it's perfect every time. And now at anglerwesttv.com, you can get the same great snip with the Angler West TV logo. I just love these things. Today's episode is brought to you in part by Costa Sunglasses. See what's out there. This morning, we're on the Columbia River, just south of the Tri-Cities, Washington area, looking for pre-spawn walleye. We're with guide and Max Lure Pro staff member Dave Hedden, who's fishing with a group visiting from Minnesota. We'll be slowly working a variety of jigs and harnesses to entice walleye to bite on this first day of spring.
All right, so basically, we're gonna be staying vertical. I'm gonna be controlling the boat, and it's gonna be a lift and drop, and it's not going to be a real aggressive lift and drop like say you would with a blade bait. It's going to be a controlled lift and then follow it down on the drop. You want a slack drop, but you want it controlled to a point so you get a good hook set with your rod tip close to the water. So you're going to coil down until you see that coil. That means you're on the bottom. You're going to reel down so your rod tip is close to the water. What this is going to allow you to do is get a good hook set when that fish hits. So all I'm going to do is have a controlled lift, and I want to see that belly every single time. And a lot of times when you're first learning to jig, all you're going to do is feel pressure. Just continue that lift straight up and reel down on them. Don't hesitate to cross their eyes. Basically what we got is we have fish that are going to be spawning. They'll move up into the shallows right here and spawn. A lot of these fish are staging. We're about the end of March right now, or mid-March. And we have a water temp about 45 degrees, so these fish are really starting to get into the groove of the spawning, and they'll continue that all the way through April.
The bottom feels kind of hard here, Dave.
So pretty much we have a sand bottom with boulders scattered, and those fish are going to relate to those boulders because it provides them structure and a current break where they can ambush bait and also lay out the current. A lot of times these fish, they're going to bite super, super light. A lot of times you'll feel maybe one thump, sometimes you don't feel them at all. The key when you're jigging is to not drop that rod tip. You just want to, any pressure you feel, set the hook. Hook sets are free. You drop the rod tip on a walleye a lot of times, it'll spit it as fast as it takes it.
Those dead spots in the water, the walleyes seem to relate to?
Absolutely. Basically, you're going to have, it's maybe only be a small area, but for some reason it's usually a bottom contour. Those walleye will sit right in that deader water adjacent to the current, and it may only be 1/10 of a mile an hour to maybe 2/10 of a mile an hour, but a lot of times they will relate to those. That little bit of green on the bottom is signaling that there's rock down there. And then once the green disappears, you're back onto the sand. And this is basically what's known as the Irrigan portion of the river. We have the Irrigan boat launch on one side, and then a real popular 62, 64 drift just upstream from it. And that's a spot where a lot of the fish will stage and then move up onto the shoal on the other side to spawn. So the pattern the last couple days, they haven't been pushing much water through the dam. So the morning bite's been a little bit slower, only because the current hasn't pumped up yet. It seems like later in the day when they start running water, the bite definitely picks up, kind of like a salmon would when they start running water. It seems like the fish just get more active when there's better flow. Bass. Baby steps. A lot of smallmouth. A lot of times you'll find smallmouth on a lot of the same structures you would walleye. Smallmouth really relate to rock a lot. And this time of year, they're in their pre-spawn mode right now too. So they're bulking up for their spawn, which is generally in May, depending on water temperature.
I don't know, I've had it on a while. That's what I thought. You probably drug it in.
First Washington walleye ever in your lifetime.
It's a toad.
Are you keeping any? Are we keeping any?
It's up to you guys. It's totally up to you guys. That was a smaller walleye. The slot we're fishing right now is known to hold a lot of small males that are kind of hanging around waiting for the females to spawn. Every now and then, though, you're going to hit a good fish in with them. That's kind of what we're shooting for right now. Good start, good start.
The Clackercraft Magnum Power Drifter is designed to give you ultimate access to our thousands of miles of rivers, no matter how low the flows. For power, only the best will do. That's why Clackercraft chooses the reliable Tohatsu TLDI Series 35-horse jets, which use the power of a 50-horsepower TLDI to deliver a true 35 horses to the pump, with excellent fuel economy and an unmatched horsepower-to-weight ratio, so you can make those long runs through skinny water to find the fish. Bobber fishing is becoming more and more popular for salmon and steelhead, and I want to show you something that's going to help you catch more fish. Lots of people like to tie in a swivel underneath their bobber, which is great, but a metal swivel is going to sink and cause drag on your lure, which is not what you want when you're trying to achieve a subtle, lifelike presentation. Instead, use an Invisiswivel. Invisiswivels are made of fluorocarbon, they're invisible to the fish, and they're neutral buoyant, which means they will drift freely with your lure and not cause any unwanted drag. Learn more at aquatico.com and find them at your local retailer. Angler West TV is brought to you in part by Yeti Coolers. Wildly stronger, keep ice longer. Welcome back to the Columbia River. I'm Justin Wolff. We're with guide Dave Hedden, who's put us on a consistent bite, but the big females are eluding us. This fish is a good eating size, but it appears to be snagged, so legally it should be released.
Right there. He actually did have it in his mouth, but we'll let him go.
So there is a slide out here, Dave.
There is. It's a 10 fish limit. In this stretch of the river, you can have one fish over 24 inches. You can have 5 fish in between 18 and 24, and then the rest of the 10 have to be under the 18 inches. So it's a pretty liberal limit. Main thing is just to protect our breeding hatch or our breeding stock, which are the fish over 24. Well, we know there's some smaller ones out here. Hopefully there's a big mama pig hanging out with them. A lot of times of the year this spot does hold better fish, so fish.
Yep.
Not a toad. Yeah, we'll throw that one in the box. Good eating fish. So basically what we got here is the brand new Spindrift rig from Max Lures. They have a brand new Spindrift hook made by VMC. It solves a problem with the previous hooks. It still spins the worm a lot better, but you don't have to be quite as precise in rigging it. And all you're gonna do is just thread it on and just thread it up the shank, just like that. Slide it straight up, then trim the tail off, and we'll set it in the water and it's going to spin. See that worm spinning just like that? Walleye cannot resist that.
There, huh? Using this Procure garlic. I had some on the last 3 fish, so we'll try it again. There's a nice one.
Toad.
That's Procure garlic.
So Smile Bay with a few beads on it, nothing too spectacular. The key is the blade. The blade spins at very slow speeds, and for this time of year when we're fishing very slowly, it works very, very well. All you do is just basically nose hook the crawler, stretch it out. These are pretty big crawlers, so I'm going to trim the tail off. But that's just your basic rig. So I'm sure you guys have fished harnesses before, but basically when a fish bites, you actually want to give them a line. Drop back, and it's going to be a sweeping hook set forward. The last thing you want to do is come straight up. A lot of times that's going to pull it straight out of a fish's mouth. Don't need any Bassmaster hook sets, just solid, snug it up, and the fish will usually stay pinned. An okay day, we caught some smaller fish. Our goal today wasn't really numbers, we were really shooting for some big fish. Unfortunately, right now, I believe it's about the 20th of March, and the water temp is 47 degrees. And basically what that means is these fish are starting to spawn. And when they start to spawn, generally the big fish shut off, and it makes the big fish bite a lot tougher.
One of the theories is on the females, once they get done spawning, is they take quite a beating that goes on. A lot of the times the females will suspend. The males will come underneath the females and bump them, actually pushing the eggs out, and then they'll actually fertilize the eggs as they're dropping. So the females do take quite a beating during that process. So that's one theory from a biologist that we talked to was talking about.
Hey, thanks for watching today's episode. You know, without the support of the sponsors, the show would not be possible. So please thank them when you can. Now get out there and do some great fishing.